The world is in chaos. I'm feeling a lot of fear personally and collectively. I'm finding myself immobilized and stuck, fearful and lacking joy and purpose. Advice: thriving during a global pandemic and world that feels upside down and like it could implode. I'm so glad that you are asking this question because I know that a lot of people are feeling this right now. One of the challenges of being a sensitive, empathic person is that we tend to feel physically in our bodies a lot more of what we would call the collective vibes going on. And right now the collective vibes are a little bit in turmoil. So my response to this is something that you may or may not like to answer. What I want us all to know as sensitive people is that it doesn't have to be that we take on what the world is feeling. And actually, it's not desirable. Part of our culture, especially for North American women, sort of teaches that we need to worry for other people and that's how we show love. That we need to hold this to really be worthy. We need to, be the holders of the crap in order to really earn our place at the table. That's actually not true. So my working hypothesis that I would offer you is that it is possible and it is the way to be a sensitive person and be able to use those superpowers and also not take on the world's crap. Because the truth is that in many ways, on some level, since the beginning of time, the outer world has always been in chaos. Yes, we are more aware of it now, and there's more conscious social, political upheaval on a very overt level than maybe we ever noticed before that was there. That is a difference. But what we can do when we really apply a working spiritual hypothesis to the situation is that we want to get to the place, and it is possible, for the outer world to be in chaos and our inner world to be quite stable. Because the outer world is always going to do its outer world thing. And our job is to really work on the inner world. So here's one key way that I often coach people that they can start to get some real results with feeling that inner stability. And that is to sit down and write out your working spiritual hypotheses. These are questions that you don't have to take as necessarily ultimate truth with a capital T, but you're saying, this is what I kind of already believe about the nature of reality in the universe. These are questions like, what's really going on and who's really in charge? What's the name that I say for that? Is God in the universe? Is there a plan? Am I a child of God? Is there a plan for my life? Why do bad things happen to good people? Why do we suffer or encounter challenges in our life? So answering some of these questions, where do we come from? Where are we going? What's the purpose of the life process? Why do I encounter challenges in my life? Answer those questions, because what I've found is 9 times out of 10, you already have an inherent answer for those. If I just ask you point blank at coffee, you can kind of find those within yourself. The problem often that's happening when we feel like we are unbalanced or feeling the chaos of the world is that we haven't yet made the bridge between our working hypothesis and living that in the moment. And instead, we're just stuck in the middle where our mind is focusing and going out and taking these outer world things and bringing them inward. So what we want to do is we want to take those working hypotheses that we already know to be true, and we come back to those and rest in those even as we see that there is a chaotic world. Because what this does is that it allows us to actually be better actors in the world. It allows us to remember that life is like a video game that we're trying to play skillfully, but we don't forget that it's just us playing in the video game, and we want to do it well. I'm not advising that we should just spiritual bypass, go sit on a mountain and be like, whatever, the world can just go screw itself. I'm not going to be disconnected. What we say is that, yes, I see these things, and and here's my ultimate framework for the spiritual nature of reality, and here's me embodying that and coming back to that and remembering that on the inside, and that tends to build our chi and our bubble, fill our bubble out from the inside out, so that we can come back to this grounded place and be less affected by the world, which will allow us to take any action steps that we are being called to take in that moment. So I hope you loved this video and found it valuable. If you did, please do hit that like and subscribe button. That helps us send out our message to as many people as possible. I am on a mission to help empaths, healers, and highly sensitive people release the trauma trapped in their body without decades more of therapy, so that you really can live your life on purpose with true confidence. You are a soul with a body, and you deserve great things. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.